Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of Beyond the Barclay with me, Jez Davies. I am joined with three co-hosts this evening. Mr. Morgan Hewitt, first and foremost. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. Did you enjoy the game today?
Half that I saw, yeah.
Yeah, go on to that later. Mr. Cillian, the Flying Canary O'Grady, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Grounded today, so great. Yeah, not flying anywhere.
From home, it was bird's eye view. I think you described
after a 52-hour journey to Stoke to see Stoke last weekend. I couldn't face another Sunday of British transport. So
yeah. No, it was. I know you had some funny games getting there. I think you have a National Express across to Colchester, wasn't it?
Yeah, last week, and then delayed flight back, and delayed trains and everything. Yeah, and Ryanair their time trying to find the only refueler, I'd say, in the southeast of England, which took hours. So good fun.
Yeah, it's crazy. And last but by no means least, Mr. Callum Rivet, who's joined the team over the last couple of months, doing some wonderful work on our social media. Hi, Callum. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, thanks. Yeah, also suffered from planes this week. My girlfriend was stuck here for an extra week because Schiphol Airport decided to basically shut down for the past week, didn't it? So I feel your pain, Cillian.
Where was she stuck?
She was stuck here, fortunately. Like it wasn't. Yeah. She wasn't stuck in a hotel, but yeah, couldn't get back home. So yeah, snow and ice causing fun and games, I think.
Excellent. I'm going to remove that like and subscribe box that's right on Callum's face. Before I do, obviously, a reminder to everyone watching: do like and subscribe on our channel for more great content. Right, we've called this emergency pod to discuss Mr.
Sorry,
Mr.
can I just preface this with really sad news about that fan that passed away at Carrow today?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Before we begin any sort of like chat about stuff, I think it would be the right thing to do to shout out to that fan and the family in regards to what happened today. So yeah, it's a little bit low. You can't really ignore it.
No, I completely agree, Morgan. Thanks for raising that. It's obviously really sad time, and condolences to the family, and puts probably what we're about to discuss in perspective, I guess. But it's I think it's something that we, as Norwich fans, probably do need to discuss. So obviously Clement came out in his post-match conference today, saying that the reason Josh Sargent wasn't playing is because he sent a text message to him the night before. Transfer stuff in my head was his the reason why he wasn't playing today. So could I open it up? I mean, Morgan, what were your initial thoughts when you first heard that statement?
To be quite honest, I mean, we had a bit of a banter on the old chat with Cam, always saying about Makama and then Makama scoring. So initially I was a bit kind of like, oh well, who cares? But then same measure, he's been such a since I mean he's been at Norwich for a few years now. We signed him when we were in the Premier, like that stint on the Premier League. So he's been around for about 5 years. We have to remember that, and he's been under a lot of transfer speculation in the past, but he's always kind of knuckled down and stayed true, and he's been, I hate to use that term, but a great servant for the club. You know, he's been fantastic. So after that kind of like, oh well, who cares? I was a bit like, actually, it was a little bit sad to think that he'd sort of acted out in that way. But then that pragmatic part of me thinks to myself, well, it's the World Cup next year in the States. We're still in the relegation zone in the Championship. It's a bit of a balancing act. So that's. But obviously, you know me, I love being diplomatic. That's my opinion.
Of course. Cillian, I mean, I guess sort of same question, but more sort of on the timing of it. What the reason for the timing of that text message?
Yeah, I mean, I don't care who the player is. I think it's poor form to do that to the manager. And I don't care how much they've served Norwich or any other club. I just don't think it's the thing to do. And it seems to be a pattern with some players to act a blackguard. And if it is, I mean, there's two sides to every story, but to me, if that's what he did, you know, he deserves anything that comes to him. I'm quite angry by it, to be honest, because that's what Johnny Rowe did, and he got slaughtered by the fans for it. You know, we should have learned from this that doesn't happen, and I would worry that if the club accede to it, that we're in trouble with Clement, because he was very clear in his press conference that he wasn't leaving and he would pay the consequences for it. So he's definitely not a manager to be messed with, and I hope Apper backs Clement on that. We've heard that, you know, we don't need the money, so I think this is the time to make an example of a player. I remember that day distinctly in Oxford when Johnny Rowe did the same thing. And on the same day, and I know he gets a lot of stick from a lot of fans, but I spoke to Alameda after that game, who knew he was going to Celtic, and he still showed up and played.
Yeah. So, I think that's. Sorry, carry on, Cillian.
Oh, that's all I was going to say.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it's it's very Johnny Rowe-esque, and I think it's actually. I don't think this is just a Norwich related thing. I think there's a lot of clubs and a lot of players where this has happened down the years, and some players handle it really well. I mean, you look at Anton Semenyo, who's just moved from Bournemouth to Man City. I know it's a very different scenario, but you know, he goes and scores the winner Wednesday night, and then he's playing for his new team on the Saturday, and it's all done very well. And yes, I know it's, you know, the team's involved and the money's involved. It's very different. But Callum, I mean, exactly the same question. What I've just asked the other two lads. What's your feelings on it, mate?
Yeah, I think it shows a little bit of lack of self-awareness, I would say, from Sargent, and he's someone that's really been held up as someone who has been professional. He was literally praised in the summer by a lot of Norwich fans by saying, you know, he's not done a Nunez, he's not kicked up a fuss, he doesn't want to leave. But, you know, I'm assuming it's come about because he's not been getting into the US team, and they've got a World Cup coming up. But I don't see moving to Toronto, a team who finished like fourth from bottom in their conference, as a massive step up. You know, Ali Ahmed's just come to us from a team that got to the final of MLS. So, yeah, I mean, I said sort of lack of self-awareness, and I say that kind of because he scored 1 in 16 after his hotspot spell at the start of the season, and he's not really got much in terms of his hand at the moment. Like if this was 6 months ago, would be really worrying about it, because we didn't really have much of a backup last season. We had Ashley Barnes for a bit, but McCann was banging in goals. I think Visgarden will come good. Sargent's kind of lost the power a little bit here, because his performances don't merit a place in the starting 11. So it's odd timing, I'd say.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I mean, but back to you, Morgan. I mean, how do you see the next sort of week, I guess, playing out, and any sort of potential replacements you could sort of name straight off the bat?
I think, again, I'm always diplomatic with these things, which makes boring podcasts, but makes me feel good when I come out the back of them. So I think there will obviously be conversations had with him. I'm just thinking from a general perspective when you think about being at your own job and work. And Clement seems like a very switched on, very pragmatic and straight down the line kind of character. So where do you feel like Sargent will go from here? You know, having done that, having kind of acted out, as it were. He has to now earn his place back into the starting 11, which comes from him knuckling down and concentrating on and I guess paying back the respect to the club that has really kind of nurtured him over the last few years. And like Callum said, like Makama's, I mean, don't need to say much more about that kid. And Chris Gordon, he's more than capable of kind of being, back up to Makama. So it's a bit of a long way back for Sargent, in a way, because he's not been pulling up trees. So where do you kind of where I don't know. It's a really tough question to ask me, Jez. In terms of whether he goes and replacement. Well, Mohamed Salah, Liverpool. I mean, to be fair, like I generally I don't pay much attention to other sort of team, but I mean, if Clement's saying that he's not going this window, who do you replace Sargent with?
Well, this is it, and I think it'll be interesting to see if he does. I mean, I've seen it before where players do this type of thing and they're back in. I think the most prolific one or obvious one for us would be Wesley Houlihan. And
Holt did it as well.
Yeah, right, both examples of these players that were club legends. Does Sargent fall into that category? Yes, probably he does. And then have been able to re-find their hero status because for no other reason than they've knuckled down. So look, I mean, back across to you, Cillian. I mean, do you think there is a chance that he could just knuckle down now and is going to be welcome back? And I know this is very early on from the announcement or the press conference from Clement, but do you see a way in which he can get back into the fold?
Yeah, I mean, I do if he wants to. I mean, we don't know. I mean, we've only heard a couple of comments from Clement, and he didn't want to get into too much detail. He was pretty clear about that. We haven't heard anything from anybody else in the club, or we haven't heard from Josh Sargent. So who knows what's been happening for the last couple of months? I think the fans have always appreciated what Sargent has done. Certainly over obviously, as Callum has said, he hasn't had a great season. In the last couple of seasons, he's spent long periods out of injury. So, I mean, I was getting slightly worried a couple of weeks ago. I felt that maybe he should take a bit of a backseat and give Makama a chance. Because one of the things I noticed was even prior to Cernak going out injured, it was almost a case where the players seemed to lack a bit of confidence taking a shot. They seemed to want to give it into Sargent, which is exactly what Pookie towards the end of his time with us. Came very up the best. Sargent is exceptional, so he turned defenders, but still, people. It was noticeable today that Chris Garden didn't really get a lot of service either. So, it's hard to know. I mean, so I personally think if we can get beyond it, a little bit of tension might be a bad thing. But who knows? What's actually really going on. And Clement is very clear about how he's feeling about it.
Thank you, Cillian. I think that's a really nice segue into what I was going to ask Callum. So obviously, Callum previously worked for the club and don't feel like you need to answer this in any way. But do you think that in any world would Clement have come out today and just said, he had food poisoning, or he picked up a little knock in training, rather than actually being really honest and telling us what happened? And what do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because it was something I was quite surprised about, and you've got to give Clement a lot of plaudits for that. It's coming out and actually saying it, because a lot of times managers do come out and say X, Y, Z. Like, we never really knew the full story of why, say, Lewis Grabban and Bradley Johnson and that kind of kicking around, going around, and that just lets rumours fester and circulate more on social media. So this kind of nipped it in the bud straight away and was just like, this is what's happened. This is the situation. This is what we're going to do about it. So you've got to give props for him. And as Cillian said, there is a way back. He's got a lot of credit in the bank with Norwich fans. It's not like Johnny Rowe where he had one good season. But if I was Ben Napper, I'd kind of be looking at this situation and almost kind of being a little bit grateful that it's happened, because if we'd have sold Josh Sargent and this hadn't come out, and we'd have sold him to Toronto for, say, 20 million, and everyone just thought it was a Napa decision, his head would be on the block. There'd be, we're in the relegation zone, this is an awful decision, what you're doing it for? But it's kind of taken that away from it. As we've said, he's not had a great season. He's missed the most big chances in the Championship so far. He goes injured for a lot of time of the season. If we can get 20 million for him, with Makama and Quiscoren scoring, I think that's a win-win, kind of. Obviously, it can come back to bite us, and we go down, and everyone goes, well, we missed Josh Sargent. So that's the risk you got to take. But I think with Clement, I think we should do enough to catch at least one of the teams above us, probably Portsmouth. But yeah, I think the replacement is already in the building, isn't it? It's Mateus Quiscoren. That's kind of what he's been brought in to do. He's not lit up so far, has he? But there's a player.
But don't forget, we've still got Cernach. I know he's out with ACL.
Exactly. Yeah.
But you've got to think that when last season under the Hoff, he was starting to emerge, and even with Manning, he was still kind of he was trying, and okay, the tactics didn't suit his style of play. It's just so unfortunate that he got that ACL. But if Cernach was still available, would we all be biting our nails right now? Maybe, maybe not so much. I think we might be well, his time is with Makama being on his hot streak. We might all be well, is his time over with us, and pass him over?
100%. I think as well as let's move on to a little bit more about the game today. I think FA Cup game against a very good, albeit League Two, but they're doing really well in League Two. Walsall side. And I think there was a stat put out before the game that they're only 26 places below us in effect. We played them off. I'll be honest. I mean, I didn't watch the whole game, but of what I saw, I thought we played them off the park. I mean,
they did.
The aforementioned Makama scored a hat trick, Jurasek scored, and Tony Springett scored as well. It's what a perfect afternoon. And the only blot on the copybook was the fact that we let it go. But
they scored but that goal was a worldie. Where I was sat in the south stand, the only thing that we failed to do was close that player down.
Exactly, and I think
no one did anything wrong. It was just it was a really well taken goal,
which shows their quality. But I think for me, I don't want to dwell on the Josh Sargent thing, but the players clearly knew before the game, and I wonder if that spurred them on a little bit. So okay, let's just show them we can do it about him. And I think actually moving forward, it's a confidence boost of this game, isn't it? That's the way I see it. We're in the next round of the cup. We might get one of the big boys, but there's still a few. Imagine if we get Macclesfield away. And that for a day out. So I can see Cillian's eyes lighting up with a potential away day to Macclesfield. But no, for me, it's a confidence boost. It's something we can take into next week at Wrexham. So I'd be really interested to perhaps start with Cillian and just sort of get your viewpoint on today's game, and B, what it means for the rest of the month.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a very solid performance from the team. I think we did get a little bit sloppy at one point, but the game was well in our winning, as it were, at that stage. It was interesting that Makama played so well off the left. I thought he was poor on the right last week, so it seems to suit him playing on the left and coming in. I was delighted for Tony Springett, obviously, maybe slight bias being Irish, but it was lovely to see. And it seems from what Clement said that the whole bench were madly excited that he scored a goal. I thought when he hit the post, I thought, oh, geez, this is coming back out again. And he just said, look, but it was a great pass from Liam Gibbs.
It was incredible.
Yeah, so I think everybody played a decent game today, both the starting lineup and the subs. I thought Stillman was really, really good. And he hasn't, player I've rated certainly in the last 6 to 8 months. He had a great game. So again, that bodes well for a backup in terms of for some of the positions. So I thought it was a good game.
Brilliant, thank you, Morgan. Who were you impressed with today?
For the half that I saw, I'll go on to that.
Yeah, sure we will.
I would say McConville. I think Cillian mentioned we flapped about a bit when we changed the back four, which I think you're completely correct. Like, McConville has been an app. I wish we hadn't have given his boots away as soon as we did, because now we'd be absolutely flying, wouldn't we? He's become an absolute hero in that back four. So McConville, Wright, although sometimes I think Wright does try to do too much, and I saw him lose a ball a few times by trying to be too clever and just make a simple pass back maybe. Springett, I mean, I'm gonna reference this, but like, the reason why the bench flew up is because a few weeks ago, during the Christmas period, I met one of the physio team, the NCFC physio team, who works with Tony in Durham on a night out, and he was saying to me just how much Tony has worked, how much they've all worked together to get him back to fitness, back to where he needs to be, and they're so proud of him and Mundell Smith as to how they've tried to get them into the first team picture, back on fitness, back on track. And today they bring on Springett and everyone loves it. We're all singing that song, walking in the Springett Wonderland, and then he goes and scores a goal. And I think it's testament to the academy and to the physios and everyone who puts that effort into those players to get them into that first team from our academy is one of our own. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant to see. And people keep saying, oh well, he's not top six. He's not top six championship. I'm like, we're in the relegation zone. We need the Andrew Sermons. We need the Gary Holts. Like when we spoke to Gary Holt last year, and he said it's about the I can't remember the term he used, but I'll use a cycling term called domestique. The domestique gets that peloton up the channels, gets them across that line. Not everyone can be an Emi Buendia or a Gabe Sara. Like, Springett's done incredibly well to be a forgotten man, sidelined, injury prone, to now scoring goals, against a really decent League Two team. So let's not forget that. And I hope people realise that it takes a lot of work from the club and that player to get them to that first team to where they are now.
I think we should just clip the last minute and send it to the club and all the fan base and just say, look, how passionate was that? I loved it. Callum, same question to you, but also I just wanted you to perhaps touch upon how you see us setting up against Wrexham.
Yeah, I think you can make the comment, oh, we've found our level playing against a League Two side, but I think there are a lot of, you can't turn your noses up with the position we're in. You can't turn your nose up at any victory that we can get at the moment just to boost confidence. I thought that right hand side worked really, really well in the first half. I mean, you didn't see us have the ball and be under any kind of real pressure from Walsall or them threaten, and that's because Stacey and Jurisic just pinned them back so well. And I'm not a massive fan of Stacey, and I think he's quite suspect defensively at times, but he was superb today and a real threat, and he could have scored. I think it was Makama's second. Stacey's done a great bit of work and cut inside, and he's been unfortunate to get a unbelievable, one of the best goal line clearances I've ever seen. He was really great today, and I think we're all pleased to see Jurisic score as well as Springett, because he got one last week, Jurisic, and it was offside. And it wasn't that long ago when he was being hauled off after 10 minutes after coming on. I think he's one of those where hopefully it's a bit of a turning point now, and we can start to see the real best of him, because his set piece delivery is good as well, which is something that we've definitely lacked. So yeah, fingers crossed, we can see more from Jurisic.
100%. I think he put the ball in for McCarthy second as well, didn't he? Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, look, fair play. Okay. So obviously we are going to. I think Cillian has already talked about the Wrexham game that went in Cillian's and Nick's on the Ball City episode that went out on the Road City, that went out earlier this month. So obviously I don't want to touch too much upon that. But what I do want to do before we finish is hand over to Morgan for the I don't know what to call it really, Morgan. Fiasco.
Getting into the stadium today.
Getting into Carrow Road. I mean, just talk to us a bit about your experience there.
So I think it can't. I know that this comes. We're a podcast. We talk about Norwich, and I missed the first half of the game today because I spent 25 minutes in a queue to get into the South Stand. That was going nowhere. Missed kickoff. I was freezing cold, and I just was like, "Well, what am I doing?" And like they closed the top tiers of the Barclay at the River End, and then gone out to put out the kids for £1. So of course you're going to get, families turn up with their children. Fine, like I get that, but it was just handled poorly, and it meant a lot of fans were waiting outside the ground, like well after kickoff, to get, to get in. And I get it. I get that they were, trying to generate income, but it was just handled badly. And I think that it caused a lot of people kind of a bit of distress. It's not. I know we're like, well, it's a first world problem, but you're being outside you're paying money to go into a football ground. You don't want to stand outside in the freezing cold for like 20 minutes to get into the ground because of mishandling of logistics. So it's something that I hope next time doesn't happen. Because there's a lot of regular fans that go that have been there that are just like, well, what's going on? It's it's not like we're all, it's all fairly, most of us could handle modern technology to ensure that we can scan in like into the ground. And I just think that today was just a little bit of a ball dropping moment by the club, and that's on that sense.
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear if anyone watching this had sort of experienced anything similar. And obviously, please get in touch if you have. But you're right. I think it's a learning process, isn't it? It's the first year about this digital ticketing system. All of the season ticket, what do you reckon, 70-80% season ticket holders in terms of capacity? Probably more than that, actually. So the general season ticket holder would know how to get into the ground, but as you say, the casual fan maybe not. So, but then that's going to come over time. I think, as you say, hopefully a bit more education around on the week of the game. I don't think I saw one post from the club saying this is how you use the digital ticketing system. And please, sorry, Cillian.
The question, is it a problem with? I mean, I know it's easy, maybe Morgan, to think that this is an issue because there's so many non-regular fans there. But I hear this regularly now. I always go in very early, so I've never had a problem getting in. But I regularly have to stand up and sit down to let people in who are arriving late because they've said they've been standing outside for 15, 20 minutes. And that's the regular usually season ticket holder. So there's something clearly not working right. I don't know whether it's the fans or the ticket styles or the people on the ticket styles, but there's something that doesn't work right. And I'm not sure what it is. And we don't have that a problem generally with away matches where we're still using physical tickets. That they seem to scan pretty okay. The odd ground you have a bit of there's always somebody there to tell you how to do it. But
I've never seen it like I've never ever seen it like it was today. It was, and it wasn't just the South Stand. It was Barclay and River End as well, because I had two friends that were sitting in both those areas. So something was, like you said, Cillian, like there's got to be something wrong. Like I mean, like we've been at the games, Jez. Like we've rocked up at like 10 to 3, 5 to 3, and there's still queues outside all this season.
Yeah,
that's not right. There's got to be some kind of like problem, like Cillian said. Like I appreciate, Cillian, you're coming from Ireland, so you have to like think earlier. I'm coming from Durham, which is an hour away. I know it sounds like I'm whinging, but it's really difficult for some fans to get into Norwich and then to try and get into the ground. And then what if you got to rock up 4 hours early? It's not like you're flying long haul flights. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, as I say, I think I just think it'll get easier through time, but it is annoying, because especially in this weather as well, when what was it, say, like 1 or 2 degrees.
Yeah,
and you're having to stand there, and if the queue isn't moving, what's going on in front of you? So yeah, I think it's important we touched upon that, but yeah, I think let's just hope this sort out, really. Gents, thank you so much for coming on. Morgan, are you doing a random question this week?
What, for this?
Yeah, you wanted to do one. Go on then.
Random question of the week. Cillian, you've not had this in a while.
I haven't. I'm dreading it.
No, come on. So I don't know why, but it's a kind of New Year's thing. I was just thinking about The Great Gatsby, and that whole sort of like New Year's kind of like, chin chin thing. So if you could hold some kind of elaborate sort of entryway into New Year's, not New Year's specifically, but January, February party, what kind of party would you hold and why? And I'll throw that over to Callum, who's looking very coy.
Yeah, as I think, we're all football obsessed. I think if you can have a countdown to like the transfer window opening, and you all turn up in your gym white, yellow ties and that kind of thing, that could be quite a nice sort of way to kick off the new year, and hopefully usher in a few more signings than we've made so far.
I like the fact that that's a really good response, especially off the cuff. It's almost like you've been limbering up for my bullshit. Cillian.
For me, it would have to be a wine and cheese party in Cower Road with Delia on the pitch. And we replay it Let's Avenue, I think.
Do we really want that?
I don't know, probably not, but different.
Brie,
yeah.
With cranberries in.
There you go, exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Jez?
I had visions of the Steve Coogan, Alan Partridge, smell my cheese, and Cillian said about the cheese party. What would I do? I think, I was going to go down the food route as well, and sort of just say, well, everyone bring their signature dish. What is their signature dish? And they all bring it along, and everyone just has a little pick at it. And
a Durham delicacy from Morgan.
Yeah. The Nebworth sausage for me, I think. And there's no pun in that, by the way. There is a sausage called a Nebworth sausage.
I'll have to try out.
So I think something like that, where it's just a bit of a feast, a bit of a get together, maybe a David Brent / Ricky Gervais marathon. I can hear a comment in the background, but I don't know what was said. Yeah, I think that'd be me. But gents, thanks once again. It's been great.
What about Morgan's party? We haven't heard about that one.
Oh, sorry, Morgan. Yeah, go
on. We'd all have to dress up as Norwich City footballers of your choice. So this is almost like a Inception random question of the week, because now I'm going to ask you who you dress up as in my party as part of the random question of the week. So, Callum, over to you first.
Oh, I've got the hair and I've got the height. I can go for Tim Closer.
Yeah, good shout.
Be there. It would just get someone to like knock my nose out a joint. I reckon I could probably, and he wore glasses as well. So
yeah,
you kind of look like him actually.
I don't know if that's a he's all right, isn't he? He's fine.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
He actually wore those glasses when he came onto the podcast.
He did.
He's been on the podcast, so you can't be slaying him, Callum.
I do love Tim. I think we all love Tim Closer. I don't think there's anyone that doesn't, is there? I mean,
he's
Ipswich fans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Ipswich fans, but Mick McCarthy. But
Cillian.
It would have to be, judging by I have the hair for it as well. I think I'd go for Brian Gunn.
Yeah.
You know what? My dad thought you were Brian Gunn.
Do you remember Lowercase Pete as well?
Like, man, I'm like, you know that's not Brian Gunn, don't you? He's like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm sure Brian is delighted.
Yeah. Definitely.
Jez?
Paul Lambert.
You look like Paul Lambert, actually, if you put your glasses on.
Yeah, people have said that previously. So, that's mine.
I'm going to go for, because he's from Dereham, and because like I'm growing my hair out a little bit, and if I got it cornrowed, it has to be Todd Cantwell, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Diet blonde. You could.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's great. It's grey.
And on that bombshell, gentlemen, hope you all have a wonderful week. Thanks for coming on. And everyone else, like and subscribe on our channel for more great content. We are on all the social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, Next, and we are part of the Talk Sport fan network. I've been Jez Davies.
I've been Morgan Hewitt.
I've been Cillian, the Flying Canary.
And I've been Callum Rivet.
Goodbye, everyone.